You drive past the same stretch of water a dozen times a year, always parking at the same access point, always fishing the same 50 yards of bank, because that is the spot you know. A quarter-mile downstream, hidden behind a tree line you have never walked through, there is a creek mouth, a hard point, and a channel swing that has probably never seen a hook in years. Not because it is inaccessible, but because nobody has ever looked at it from above and noticed it was there. Old bank fishermen built their knowledge of a lake or river one slow season at a time, walking miles of shoreline over years to find the handful of spots worth returning to. You can do in 20 minutes at your kitchen table what took them a decade of walking, and you can do it before you ever put your boots on. Google Earth is not a replacement for reading water in person. It is the fastest scouting tool ever made available to a freshwater angler, and almost nobody fishing bank water is using it properly. Here is the first thing to look for, and you can find it in the next 2 minutes on any lake or river you already fish. Open the satellite view and look for any place where the shoreline shape changes abruptly. A point that juts out, a sharp inward cut, a narrow finger of water reaching into the bank. These shoreline irregularities are where current, wind, and structure interact most actively, and they are visually obvious from above in a way they are often not obvious from the bank itself, where trees and brush can hide the shape of the water entirely. Scan the full shoreline of your home water once, slowly, and mark every point and cut you see. That list alone will likely contain spots you have never fished. Old anglers who fished a body of water for decades built a mental map almost identical to what a satellite image gives you instantly. They just built it the hard way, through years of walking banks, talking to other fishermen, and remembering which stretches produced and which did not. A serious bank fisherman in the 1950s might have spent an entire decade developing the kind of comprehensive knowledge of a lake's structure that a satellite image now provides in a single afternoon. This is not a shortcut that replaces their skill. Their skill was in knowing what to do once they found a spot, how to read the water, present a bait, time a session. The map only solves the much narrower problem they spent years solving by accident, knowing where to walk to in the first place. Water depth leaves a visible signature in satellite imagery that takes almost no practice to read. Shallow water over light-colored sand or gravel appears pale, often tan or light green. As depth increases over the same bottom type, the color shifts progressively darker, moving through medium green, then dark green, then nearly black in the deepest holes. This color gradient is most reliable in clear water lakes and rivers with good satellite resolution, and least reliable in muddy or heavily stained water where light penetration is limited regardless of depth. On a lake you know reasonably well, compare what the map shows against what you already know about depth in a few spots. This calibrates your eye to that specific body of water and makes the color reading far more reliable everywhere else on the same lake. Points and channel swings are the two structural features most worth searching for first, because both concentrate fish reliably across seasons. A point is visible as a triangular or rounded protrusion of shoreline extending into open water. These create current breaks, depth changes, and ambush positions that fish use across the entire year. A channel swing is visible as a darker, often slightly sinuous band of water running close to one bank before curving away. This marks where the original creek or river channel runs nearest the shore, which is frequently the deepest accessible water along an otherwise shallow bank. On a reservoir built by damming a river or creek system, the old channel almost always still exists underwater, and it almost always still concentrates fish exactly the way it did before the lake was formed. There is a spot like this on water near you right now. A point or a channel swing that every angler driving past has seen from the road 100 times without ever recognizing what it was. Because from ground level, it looks like nothing more than an ordinary stretch of bank. From above, its shape gives it away in about 3 seconds. The information has been sitting in plain sight the entire time. Nobody needed new equipment to find it. They needed a different vantage point. Creek mouths deserve specific attention because their value shifts predictably with the season in a way that rewards anglers who track it. In spring, creek mouths often run slightly warmer than the main lake or river, drawing baitfish and the predators that follow them as water temperatures climb. In summer, the same creek mouths can provide cooler, more oxygenated water during periods when the main body has stratified or warmed uncomfortably. In fall, baitfish frequently stage near creek mouths before moving toward winter holding areas, concentrating predatory fish activity in a relatively small, easily identified zone. Mark every creek mouth on your home water from the satellite view, even the small, unnamed ones. Many of the most productive seasonal spots on heavily pressured water are exactly these overlooked minor tributaries, rather than the obvious major creek arms everyone already fishes. Before you ever drive anywhere, satellite imagery tells you whether a spot is worth the trip in the first place. Look at the area immediately surrounding a promising structural feature. Is there a road, trail, or clearing that suggests legal and physical access? Or is the entire shoreline blocked by dense tree cover, private property fencing, or terrain that satellite imagery shows as steep and difficult? Cross-reference any promising spot against a property boundary layer if your mapping tool offers one, since fishing access laws vary significantly by state and water body type. This single step, confirming access before committing to a drive, eliminates the single most common waste of a scouting trip, discovering on arrival that the spot you identified from above has no reasonable way to reach the water's edge. One of the most underused features in satellite mapping tools is historical imagery, and on most platforms, it sits one click away from the current view. Many lakes, especially reservoirs, show dramatically different water levels across different years of available imagery, which means you can sometimes find an image captured during a drought year or a drawdown period that reveals the lake bed structure normally hidden underwater. Old creek channels, stump fields, building foundations, and roadbeds that were flooded when the reservoir was built often become fully visible during these low water periods. And that structure does not move or disappear when the water returns to normal levels. A single historical image from a low water year can permanently change how you read an entire lake, because the structure it reveals is there year-round, whether you can see it or not. Submerged and shoreline structure is visible in satellite imagery more often than most anglers expect, particularly in clear water. Standing timber appears as small dark dots or irregular patches just beneath or at the surface, often in old creek channels or flooded bottomland that predates a reservoir's construction. Brush piles, whether natural or angler-placed, show up as slightly darker, more textured patches against a uniform lake bottom. Large rock or boulder fields appear as lighter, more angular patches distinct from the smoother color gradient of sand or mud bottom. None of these identifications will be perfectly certain from a satellite image alone, but each one gives you a specific, narrow target to confirm in person, rather than blindly fishing an entire unfamiliar shoreline hoping to stumble onto structure. Satellite and terrain views also let you anticipate wind and sun exposure before you ever check a forecast for the day. Banks facing the prevailing wind direction for your region and season will typically see more wave action, which stirs baitfish activity and can trigger feeding, but also makes presentation and bank stability more difficult. Banks with significant tree cover on the eastern or southern side, visible clearly from above as canopy shadow patterns, will hold shade later into the morning, valuable in summer when fish push toward shaded structure as the sun climbs. Cross-referencing bank orientation against the day's forecasted wind direction before you leave the house lets you choose a starting spot that already has the conditions working in your favor, rather than discovering on arrival that the bank you chose is taking wind and full sun directly. The most efficient way to use everything covered so far is to build a simple scouting route before you ever leave the house. Open the satellite view of your home water, mark every point, channel swing, creek mouth, and visible structure you can identify. Then arrange them into a logical driving or walking order based on access and proximity. A session built this way might hit 4 or 5 previously unfished spots in the time it would normally take to thoroughly work one unfamiliar stretch of bank discovered by chance. Old anglers who scouted new water on foot were limited to what they could physically walk in a day. A route built from satellite imagery removes that limitation entirely, letting a single afternoon cover what used to take a full season of trial and error. Satellite imagery has real limits, and respecting them is what separates effective scouting from wasted trips. The map cannot tell you today's water clarity, which changes by the week with rain and runoff. It cannot tell you today's water temperature, current fishing pressure, or whether a spot that looked perfect from above has since been logged, eroded, or otherwise altered since the image was captured. Satellite imagery on most platforms is updated irregularly, sometimes years apart. Treat every spot identified from the map as a strong hypothesis worth investigating in person, not a guaranteed producer. The map narrows down where to look. The angler's judgment on the bank still decides where to actually fish. The field checklist for scouting before you fish. Shoreline shape. Scan for points, cuts, and irregularities along the full shoreline of your home water. Depth. Read color gradient from pale shallow to dark deep, calibrated against spots you already know. Structure. Search creek mouths, channel swings, points, timber, and brush piles, marking each one specifically. Access. Confirm road, trail, or legal access before committing to a drive. Historical imagery. Check for low water or drawdown images that reveal permanent lake bed structure. Conditions. Cross-reference bank orientation against wind and sun for the day you plan to fish. Build a route. Arrange every identified spot into one efficient scouting session instead of one blind guess. And remember the limit. The map tells you where to look. It does not replace reading the water once you arrive. Old anglers spent years building this picture one walked mile at a time. You can build the same picture in an afternoon, and then spend your years doing what they actually valued, fishing it. Subscribe to Traditional Angling for more field-based fishing knowledge.